So if there's one thing this whole pandemic's taught me, it's to be a bit more resourceful and learn to do more with less. And so today, I'm going to take you through my current home gym setup and show you everything I'm doing to make the most out of what I have, including some of the more creative exercises that you might not have seen before. So first, I'm just going to take you through what I actually have. So within a couple of days of gyms closing, dumbbells were either ridiculously expensive or out of stock everywhere. So I went online and just got what I could, which turned out to be some bands, some parallettes, a dip station and a weight vest. I made do with that for a while, but more recently I have managed to pick up a flat bench and 3 sets of dumbbells, 8 kilograms, 20 kilograms and 35 kilograms. Now I'm sure I could have got my hands on more equipment, but I live in an apartment and space is limited, so I needed to be able to tuck it all away without consuming too much footprint. So I'm actually currently waiting on my new house to be completed, which unfortunately has been massively delayed due to the corona. But when I do finally get in there, we'll be turning the garage into a more advanced home gym. However, for now, I've enjoyed having to be a little bit more creative with what I have. So I'm going to show you everything I'm doing to make sure I can hit every muscle group, including some of the more awkward ones. We'll start with the obvious stuff because you've probably seen me doing these before. A balanced resistance routine is typically based around a skeleton of 6 core movements: a horizontal push and pull, a vertical push and pull, a leg press or squat movement, and a deadlift movement. So I'm going to run through these pretty quick before moving into some of the more unusual exercises. My horizontal push was weighted and banded push-ups using the parallettes for some extra depth. Now that's not too comfortable because a lot of the weight from the vest is around the midsection, so you're actually doing a weighted plank at the same time as your push-ups. Now I have the dumbbells, I have the option of the flat dumbbell press with the 35s, and if I keep my reps strict, then this is definitely heavy enough for me to do sets of 12 or so. I've been doing inverted bodyweight rows using the dip station for my horizontal pull exercise. These can be done banded, bodyweight or with the weight vest. I really enjoyed these, so now that I have the dumbbells, I will be doing those as well as a single arm dumbbell row because it's nice to have a unilateral exercise in there as well. My vertical push can be high rep presses with the 20 kilogram dumbbells or low rep handstand push-ups, and the fact that I can do either now allows me to train across multiple rep ranges, which is certainly beneficial, so I will be incorporating both. Now I have been doing pull-ups for my vertical pull exercise, but for those I was having to go outside and use the scaffolding. I also want to show you another exercise I came up with using the dip station and a band. So this is similar to the inverted row, but I'm placing the band around my waist. Obviously the dip station is too low for proper pull-ups, so I'm putting my feet on the bench but trying not to take any of my weight or assist the pull-ups with them. You can't quite get a full stretch at the bottom, but it's definitely far enough for a good range of motion. And you can definitely get a good squeeze at the top when the resistance is greatest. Split squats with the 35 kilogram dumbbells is now my main leg press movement, and they are definitely heavy enough for some fairly difficult lowish rep sets, so I'm happy about that. I also have the option of taking the 20s out and doing some walking lunges even with the weight vest if I want to increase the difficulty. So again, it's good to have multiple options available. I'm also doing a stiff leg dumbbell deadlift with the 35s, which are more hamstring and glute focused than a conventional or sumo deadlift, but I don't really have enough weight for those, and I'm happy to emphasize hamstrings a bit more whilst I don't have access to a hamstring curl machine. So those are the fundamentals, but in a sense, those are the easy and obvious ones, along with your basic isolations like your bicep curls, tricep extensions, and lateral raises. I also want to show you some of the less common exercises I've been doing to hit those muscle groups that are a bit harder to target when you don't have access to a fully equipped gym. Now, most of these muscle groups tend to be in the legs and lower body, for the simple reason that we lack opposable thumbs on our feet, so you can't just grip a weight and do a curl or an extension like you can with your arm, unless you're obviously a monkey, but I assume you're not one, I assume you're a human, so let's do it. Standing straight leg calf raises are easy enough to do, loaded up with some weight, but I've also been including this bent leg version since getting the dumbbells. I'm just sitting on the end of the bench with the 35s on my knees, and I'm placing my feet on the dip station for some extra dorsiflexion at the ankle to give myself a greater range of motion. So bent leg calf presses tend to target the soleus more, whilst straight leg hit the gastrocnemius more. You don't actually need much weight to feel these, so the 35s are plenty. Some basic lying hamstring curls up next. These are never going to compare to the free weight version, but they're certainly worth doing. So I'm just anchoring the band to the bench and having my girlfriend sit on it, and then I'm lying on the floor on my front and performing the curls as normal. I do find that these are better using a lower resistance band that's stretched out more rather than a quote-unquote heavier band. I just find that then the resistance throughout the rep tends to be slightly more consistent. Now, a less common movement, although you've seen it before, this is the Nordic ham curl, and it's essentially an assisted bodyweight ham curl. So instead of keeping your body still and just moving the lower leg like the last exercise, you're basically doing the opposite. It's easier if you can lock the feet in above the ankle, but all I really have is the couch, so I have to just make do tucking my feet under. I'm doing these reps more like negatives, trying to slow my fall down and then using the band and my arms to assist the concentric phase. Okay, some leg extensions up next, and these are notoriously difficult to emulate without the gym, but I do like this exercise. So I'm using the heaviest band I have and I'm looping it around one end of the bench. Then I'm bringing it to one side, putting my foot through, and then twisting the band over and looping it over the front of my foot. I'm going to scoot right to the end of the bench for maximum tension, and then I'm lying back and performing the leg extension. You can do these sat on a chair, provided the band and the chair are anchored and stable. And I would wear long socks or you will tear the hair off your legs. These are actually really good and you do get a very good contraction. The key is just having the other end of the band anchored far enough away from you to provide a good level of tension. Another leg extension substitute up next. You'll need quite a thick, comfy mat for this one. If you get on your knees, keep your torso straight from the knee right up to the top of your head and just lean back as far as possible. Then think about pushing your shins into the floor so it brings your torso up to perpendicular with the floor. Obviously, you're only getting a partial rep here, but partial reps are better than no reps. There is quite a bit of pressure on your knees with these, so obviously proceed with caution and don't snap your shit up. Final leg extension substitute, I think these are called sissy squats or some variation of sissy squats. Again, you're trying to keep your torso straight pretty much from the knee to the top of the head. Start standing and then lean back slightly as you go down on your toes until your knees are close to the floor before pushing outwards with your feet, really thinking about the leg extension movement and lifting yourself up back to a standing position. When I did these on my Instagram story, a few people messaged me saying that these are bad for your knees for one reason or another, but to be honest, I felt completely safe and comfortable doing them. Obviously, just be sensible and do whatever you are capable of yourself. Next, some banded glute bridges. Again, I'm using the dip station and the bench like I did with the inverted rows, but this time I'm putting the band around my waist and I'm taking my weight on the dip station across my back. I'm letting my ass drop down to the floor. This sounds like a weird R&B song. Then I'm just thrusting upwards like a typical glute bridge. Next up, just a banded stiff leg deadlift using the bench to anchor the band. I find this better than just standing on the band because it's further away from you, which means more tension without having to tie a knot in the band or to grip it further down. As with any banded exercise, the resistance increases as you progress towards the end of the rep, so expect these to be more difficult near the top. Finally, I think the only true upper body exercise of this set, some single arm banded chest flies. Again, I'm anchoring this to the bench on one end and then lying back as far to the other end as I can and bringing the band right over as far as it'll go. This actually has some advantage over a free weight fly because you get the resistance even when your chest is at maximum contraction, much like you can with cables. With a dumbbell, even if you did it single arm, your arc of resistance occurs at the opposite end of the rep. And once the arm is perpendicular to the floor, there isn't any resistance. So for that reason, I will probably be doing both these and a traditional dumbbell fly. Anyway, I hope you found some of that interesting and maybe saw some exercises that you haven't seen before. If you do have some of the same equipment that I have, then by all means, try out some of those exercises. Obviously, just be a bit cautious with those leg extension ones because you don't want your knee to... That's just... It's not great, mate. Broken knees are less than ideal, so don't do that. Do be careful. I do think it's good practice to try some new stuff and to have to adapt to some new circumstances once in a while because, you know, resourcefulness will always be useful because we live in a very unpredictable world, and I'm sure that this isn't the first time that there will be a proverbial spanner thrown in the works. It's also quite telling of how ridiculously spoiled we are with like the opulence of a fully equipped gym, mate. Seems insane, doesn't it? But that's it from me. Obviously, stand by for hopefully one day eventually getting a new house, being able to make this sick home gym, make sick videos there. It's all gonna be sick. You take it easy. See you later.
They see me rolling, they hating. Joey Lenny is my hero.